Welcome back to another message crawler update. Today I am super excited to share version 6 with you. Now this is an early beta. It does work for some data types and I want to get it out and show it to you and start testing it with some of the people who wanted to be part of a beta testing team. Now let's go to my screen and I'm going to show you what version 6 looks like. Alright, so this is version 6 of Message Crawler, and as you can see, it doesn't look much different from version 5. So what changed? Well, the difference in this version is that we're using a database on the back end. So right here you see a little sidebar here where we'll be able to use that to query data from the database that's on the back end. And the idea, of course, is that we can persist the data that is stored in Message Crawler. When you close the application, it is no longer lost. It's going to stay in there. So let's go ahead and create a new database, because without it, we can't really do anything in version 6. We need to have a database. However, it is very easy to create a local database. You don't necessarily have to have a server or anything like that. So let's go to database, create new database, and now we have two options, SQLite or SQL. SQLite is your local database, and if you use that, it's going to be almost like you're using old version. It's just going to be a file on your file system. SQL, you can use Microsoft SQL Server if you have it, and that's going to give you more performance and all the benefits that come with SQL Server. So let's select where we want to store this database, and this is going to be our DB56 in my case. Gonna hit next. I have options, creating standard fields or blank database. If you're going to be loading with outside production where we take a DAT files and we want to load them, we'll go with blank database. For our normal RSMF conversion, we're going to let it create standard fields. I'm going to click next. And here we can update our client meta project name if we choose to. And we also have one more thing called project file storage location. This is where Message Crawler can store files. Like you can actually ingest files, not just database records. This way, if your original source changes, somebody deletes something or moves, well, the data will stay inside Message Crawler application. So this is actually required. So I'm going to go next, and we're going to let it build the database. And once the database is ready, we can click on finish, and not much changed. So let's actually load some data in here. We're going to go to import. And first thing you'll notice, all this stuff is great because I am just concentrating on the most commonly used import types, Celebrite, Teams, Slack, and that. I want to make sure those work well before I'm going to start working enabling other stuff. WhatsApp here too, because I added support for WhatsApp for Android, which was actually very interesting in itself. Separate videos for all that. Let's go to Slack, and what we're going to do here, give it a prefix, a name, custodian if we choose to. And I'm going to select the JSON file. And we're going to find our sample data. We're going to choose Slack for demo, channels. And this screen, as you can see, it's a little different now. It looks more like the Slack convert, where we could see all the channels before importing. So we can check and uncheck things here. We're going to leave everything checked. Say import. And now it says done. So if we close this and we go here, we have an entry here for Slack. So if I click on the search button, we have our data loaded. So we can scroll left and right. We can see our attachment information, see all our metadata here. So let's load some more data. Let's go to a DAT file, and we are going to click on select, and I'm going to pick this, pick a DAT file. Now, one thing we can do is auto map fields. So if the field names match, we can map them. If the fields do not match, we can manually map them, right? Not too fancy here. But the cool thing here is, let's say we want to just create fields and map automatically. So I'm just going to select everything. I'm not going to do the time. I'm going to say create selected as text. So now these fields were created in the database and mapped. And now we can take our remaining timestamp and create that as a date. I think that's actually pretty cool. It's going to save a lot of time. mapping fields. And here we can give out import a name, description if we would like to, and then we can hit import. And it's so small that it's complete right away. So now if we go back here, we have our dat file. So now we can click on a dat file, and we see fields that were loaded with a dat file. And if we click here, we see fields that were loaded for Slack. And the way we can control it is from this drop down. Fields have tags. We can associate different fields to sort of a profile or a tag. And whenever we query for that specific data type, we're able to pull up just those fields so we don't have a mess of stuff going on. So let's talk about a couple of other things here, which is search queries and static searches. So I'm going to go here, and let's say we're looking for all record type join. So the filter menu is gone. Now we have a search, and this search will properly go into a database and query things. So we're going to do record type equals join. We're going to edit and run a search. So now this was added as a new search here, and we can of course give it a name, and we can go back to it again. We can go to all documents, we can go back to our search, and this is a dynamic search which updates anytime you add more documents. If for whatever reason we want a static search, let's do something like sort control number descending. Now we can do save, and we can give it a name for export. And now we have our static search here. So we can go back to our dynamic. We can see this is sorted ascending. If we go here, it's sorted descending. And then we can go here to our all documents and again, our dat file. So that's how we're able to navigate around Message Crawler version 6. To perform an export, nothing really changed. You still have to click and load data into the grid, and then whatever is in the grid, 47 records, will go to RSMF, and we'll see that is 47 records that it wants to export. So that would be what I've built for version 6 of Message Crawler. Interface almost didn't change. You have a few little things like create new fields and some cool stuff like hide columns, because if you have a lot of blank columns, sometimes you can just go bam, and all the unnecessary stuff is gone. Again, outside productions, you have those massive dat files. You can just dump them in here, hide blank stuff, change field names, export to nice, neat dat file that you could load somewhere else or just work with. But we're going to leave it for future videos. And again, all the tools that you used to use, they are still here, they still work, and they will update the database. However, all these tools work on documents that are loaded in the grid. They don't apply to the entire database. All right, guys, I've been working on this for way too long. It probably took me 5 months to get to this point. I know a team of developers would have knocked that out in a month or something like that, but I'm very happy with where I am right now. I'm going to continue tuning and perfecting this to make sure everything works well before going back and starting re-enabling all the old data types, or import types, because there's a lot of work to making them work with the database. I have to create field mappings and all kinds of stuff. In the meantime, if you wanted to be a beta tester, if you asked me, send me an email. By this time, you should have received an email from me with the link how to download this version. If you would like to be part of beta testing, please send me an email, nick@hashtaglegal.com, or fill out a form on my website, and I would be happy to share this version with you. I would love to see what people think of it, any problems they find, and I'm sure as a first beta version, there are going to be some problems. This is not production ready, but I would love everyone's feedback. So let me know if you're interested in beta testing it. Thank you for checking out this update. I will see you on another.